Hello everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for taking your own time out to check out this video where this is going to be a little bit different and I'm going to be doing my first ever ranking video today on the channel, which I'm really excited by because recently I sat down and I watched all the American Pie movies. Now you may not be aware of this, but as you may be able to see on your screen right now, there is 9 movies, 4 in the original theatrical American Pie series, and then you've got the 5 spin-offs. So we're going to talk about each one of them, and you may see me looking down here, and if you do, don't worry about that. I'm actually just looking at my screen because the webcam is up there. But we're going to talk about each one of them, not so much all in full detail, but I'm going to touch on points. I have also got my phone set up right here, so I can touch on it and go on like letterbox, so I can give you guys a bit of more of my in-depth thoughts, which you can see all more of my thoughts on there as well. I'm going to tell you the rating now. As you can see on the screen, I have got this as 1 to 9. Number 9, of course, being the worst. Number 1 being the absolute best. Now, we are going to start from the bottom and go all the way up till we get to that final number 1. So as of right now, without any cheating and without scrolling to the end, leave your guesses as to where each one is going to land, which is going to make number 9 and which is going to make number 1. So without further ado, let's get into it. So number 9, of course, so these are, I've put them all in order in terms of kind of the theatrical movies and then of course the spin-off movies as well. So we have got a wide selection. There is, I will say for most part with this series, I enjoy them. There is one or two, well, particularly one I'm not really fond of, and that is number 9. So this movie came out in 2005. The interesting thing to know as well with all these movies, they are directed by different people. There's not the same director who directed 2 of these movies. Every one of them have a different director for whatever reason. I do not know. But coming in at number 9 is the 2005 movie American Pie Band Camp. So in terms of Band Camp, this is the one that follows in after American Pie The Wedding. And with Band Camp, it is got some nods and Easter eggs to the original American Pie movies. This time we've got Tad Hillenbrink, who plays Matt Stifler. We've got Ariel Kebbel, Jason Earls. We've also got Chris Owen in here who plays Sherman or Shermanator. And we've also got Eugene Levy as Jim's dad. So Sherman and Jim's dad is easily the best part of this. Ariel Kebbel does the best that she can to try hold any of this up completely. But unfortunately, Tad Hillenbrink isn't a great Matt Stifler. He's meant to be Stifler's like younger brother we see in American Pie movies. He's meant to be that character grown up, but now in this band camp, and he's forced to basically join this band camp to, you know, get the girl and all that kind of stuff. It's predictable. You know what's going to happen at the end of this movie, but ultimately it fails. It's not funny. It's terrible. There's times where Jason Earl's character's got like this webcam robot and the spying on women and trying to like see their pants and like the women getting their tops off and all this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I know this is what kind of makes American Pie, what American Pie is, but this one just, it had no charm to it. It just was awful. It really was bad, guys. It really was. I did rate this a 1 out of 5. It is one of the American Pie, the full list I would never want to watch again. I mean, number 8 I would never want to watch again either, but this one especially, if I had to pick, number 9 by far easily the worst. Now if we're going to go into number 8, in terms of number 8 on the list, this one came out in 2009, so it's another one of the spin-offs, and it actually is based 10 years later on from East Great Falls. It has nods and Easter eggs to the original American Pie movies once again. It is also got Eugene Levy in as well, again as Jim's dad, or Eugene see it. And this one is directed by John Dutch. And I had seen this movie before, so all these I'd seen before apart from Girls' Rules, which we'll get to. But I had seen all these before, but it's been a long time since I've seen them. So I sat down and rewatched them on, see if they held up well, see if they didn't hold up as good. And this one is just absolutely garbage. I did rate it a 1.5 out of 5, simply because it is one that I would watch over Bandcamp. I can't exactly put it in the same category, because at least it did have a bit more likability to it to an extent. Oh, by the way, this stars Bug Hall, who, if you remember from The Little Rascals, played Alfalfa. Yes, he was Alfalfa in The Little Rascals, and how he grew up to wanting women in a different way. Yeah, we have got a lot of celebrity appearances like Dustin Diamond, Kevin Federline's in here, Sherman Hemsley, Bret Michaels, and many, many more. The soundtrack was pretty cool. They played a lot of like Fall Out Boy and All Time Low and stuff, so definitely around that time, the soundtrack was probably the best. But really, yeah, there was no comedy. It felt like the cast didn't really work well together. There felt like there was no chemistry. There wasn't really anything going for this. The nerd guy wants this really hot smoking woman who's a 10 out of 10, and she flat out says to him at one point, I've got no interest in you. I don't want you that way. Then by the end of the movie, he makes her laugh in a ski cart. Once he falls out the ski cart and she all of a sudden just falls for him. And I was like, this is pathetic. So we are talking about American Pie, Book of Love, or The Book of Love. That comes in at number 8. Yeah, it was a rough watch. I would definitely say that the Jim Dad montage, Noah Levenstein, the montage was easily the best part of this movie. And I felt like if this movie just focused on creating a book of love, and the montage was kind of the full movie, that would have been a really, really good movie. But instead they went for what they did, and it sucked, guys. It really, really did. And as you guys can see so far, 2 spin-offs have made the bottom 2. So coming in at number 7. So this movie I actually did rate a 2.5 out of 5. So these next 3 movies, believe it or not, I did rate a 2.5 out of 5. But they've kind of been based on which ones I would probably re-watch. So coming in at number 7 is actually American Pie Girls Rules. Now, before going into this one, it was released in 2020. It was directed by Mike Elliott. And this one I did not have high hopes for. Simply because we have had a lot of all-female casts, remakes, reboots, sequels, spin-offs to original franchises, and they haven't exactly been great. But I'm happy to say that this one actually kind of broke the mold a little bit. Yeah, this one I actually didn't mind. I quite enjoyed it. I feel as if the girls all work well. And they have, good enough chemistry and friendship there. Got Zachary Gordon from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies, which was also really, really cool to see him in here. Yeah, the music's pretty good as well. We have got Liz Broadway, who she plays Stephanie Stifler this time. Eugene Levy's not in here. We've got none of the original American Pie cast in this installment. It is a spin-off, and it was released straight onto streaming and to DVD. There was a few moments of comedy I didn't mind. I actually got a little bit of a chuckle out of, which was good. The movie definitely had me more on board towards the second half, the second act, third act, as I want to start seeing a bit more of a happy ending for this movie, and I definitely did get that. The only thing is, why this is at number 7 is this has no nudity in it. Now, that doesn't mean to say it's not going to make a good American Pie movie or anything. Doesn't mean to say you need nudity to make American Pie, but of course that is one of the big themes of American Pie. However, this movie just tonally just did not feel like an American Pie movie. It felt more of a rom-com chick flick, so to say. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind them. I've watched plenty of those. Some of my favorite movies are those kind of movies, but this one didn't really feel like an American Pie movie at all. I feel like if it was just a rom-com chick flick in that vein, I think it probably would have worked better. But because it's got the American Pie name on it, of course it has got a lower score because of that, and it doesn't feel like an American Pie movie. Coming in at number 6, we have got a movie that was released in 2007. And this was torn between number 6 and 7, by the way. And this is, yet again, another spin-off movie. This time it is directed by Andrew Waller, and that is American Pie Beta House. So in terms of Beta House, this is the second newer spin-off. The reason why I say newer spin-off is it's a sequel to the Naked Mile, this one down here. And it's got pretty much the same cast in it, which was cool. It was nice to see that they had a bit of a continuation on with the cast. This movie had a lot of potential. I feel like this could have been a really, really good spin-off sequel if they focused on one storyline. It feels like there's so much going on here. So, for example, the main thing is this Dwight Stifler, Eric Stifler, and Coos are now in college. They want to go into this Beta House frat, and in order to be in the frat, and I think it's Robbie and Mel as well here as well, they've got to complete these 50 challenges, right? So we see like very quick glimpses, like instances of these challenges, and that's about it. Apart from one or two that's maybe extended out just to show, like they've done the first ever challenge or they've done the last ever challenge, whatever. I feel as if this movie went for those just 50 challenges, and that was the whole point of this movie, to get them initiated into this Beta House. And then, because you've got the Triad Olympia that is at the end, well, kind of middle towards the end of this movie, with like the Geek House and like the Beta House. Like the Triad Olympia is pretty cool, but it's very skimmed across quickly. The games are very quick, it's very rapid. And then of course you've got the initiation of the Beta House, which takes with the first half of the movie. So it feels like two movies in one. Whereas I feel like if you maybe separate out these two movies, had this as like a trilogy, it would have worked far better. Because I really enjoyed the part where they've got to do the 50 challenges to become betas, and I feel as if that was a movie on itself, it would have been really, really good, because I actually really enjoyed that part, and I also enjoy the Triad Olympia. But because both of them are in the same movie, they're just not developed enough. They're all underdeveloped, which ultimately in turn was a little bit disappointing in a way. It's still a fun movie ultimately, guys. Like, I still had a good time with it nonetheless. So yeah, that is Beta House. So we're coming into the top 5 American Pie movies, and what is going to make number 1? What's going to make number 5? Well, number 5, let's not waste your time. This one came out in 2006, and this is American Pie The Naked Mile. Sorry, I got that wrong. So American Pie Naked Mile is in at number 5. This is probably one of the strong, well, obviously of course I've ranked it here, but this is the strongest spin-off movie. This is fun. This is just a really, really good movie. It's directed by Joe Nussbaum. And this is the start of like Eric Stifler, who is like a nerd. He isn't like the outgoing, like very confident, cocky kind of type Stifler. He's a very just shy guy. In terms of The Naked Mile, got a lot of positives for this. Again, it's just fun. It's entertaining. Dwight Stifler, he is pretty cool. Ross Thomas and Jake Siegel as Ryan and Coos, along with Eric Stifler. They have good chemistry. The 3 guys, the 3 friends. I like it. There isn't really like big storylines going on here. It's one main storyline about Eric Stifler and who is dating his partner. They've been together for 2 years. She doesn't want to have sex. He does, so she gives him like a hall pass, basically, at this other place where he goes to do the Naked Mile. And of course, there's another girl there, and he wants to get with her, but then he finds out he really truly loves his girlfriend. He doesn't do it, and then happy ever ended. Well, until Beta House, which of course they've split up at this point. It does something a little bit different. It has got a little bit of similarity to American Pie 2, which we'll talk about very, very shortly. But yeah, for most part, this was pretty entertaining. I will say, however, the girlfriend of Eric Stifler, she gets a bit annoying towards the end, and so does her friends, really. So, in at number 4, we have got American Pie 2. Now, this is all just my own personal ranking. You may agree or you may completely disagree with me, and that's cool. But let me explain why this one is in at number 4. Now, again, I do like this movie. I've got nothing against this movie whatsoever. Like, I did enjoy it. And this one is directed by James B. Rogers, if I've got that right, and it came out in 2001. Of course, the sequel to the smash hit American Pie. This one I liked. I liked that they did something a little bit different. It wasn't just a copy and paste of the first movie that came out 2 years before it. The cast are still here, like all the original cast and stuff are still here. We do get a little bit more of character development with Jim and Michelle, Jim's dad, and of course Jim and Michelle, finally get together. Add this one with Bandcamp, and of course there's some really funny moments here as well. There's a lot of times I did get a chuckle. However, the movie has far too much going on. At one point they're at East Great Falls, the finishing, then they're at their dog years, for example, and then they are at this summer beach house. Then they've got like this summer job, and then they've got like a pool, not a pool party, like a beach party. Then they're at just the beach a lot of the time, and there's just far too much stuff going on here. Then they've got a band camp. It seems like this is to try to squeeze like 6 ideas into one movie. It just feels a little bit too crammed. Not all characters get development, like Finch and Stifler don't really grow like at all in this movie. Stifler's there mainly for like comic relief and like to have like disgusting moments happen to him, which are great to see, but like that's as far as his character goes here, which was a little bit of a shame. It's still like a good movie, still one that I would like watch again, but yeah, I just prefer these other 3 movies more than them. So yeah, that is American Pie 2 at number 4. So coming into the top 3, the bronze, the silver, and the gold. What is going to be number 3? Well, believe it or not, number 3 is American Pie 3, or American Wedding, as you'd like to call it. So yes, American Pie Wedding, that came out in 2003, directed by Jesse Dillon. This time round, we haven't got Oz, Heather, we haven't got Nadia, or Sherman, or Vicky either. So some of the original cast are missing from the wedding. And in a way, I think that's a good decision, and in a way, I don't. Because with American Wedding, I feel like some of the characters get a bit more development. Like Finch and Stifler gets a bit more time to shine than just being, like a douchebag, for example. Jim and Michelle, of course, have more character development. So does Jim's dad. And again, I'm all for that because this movie at this point, like in the 3rd movie in 2003, 4 years on, 3 movies, it's nice to see a bit more character development. It's got some good comedy moments. Plenty of times I laughed. Like Stifler in the dance club was really, really funny. Or like the wedding planning. So as I'm recording this video, I'm actually due to get married in 2025. And seeing like the wedding planning here and seeing like the wedding happen and stuff, it was really nice. Like it gave me like some like chills in a way. Like I had a smile on my face, and I actually really enjoyed it. I definitely preferred it over American Pie 2, and I think it was an overall like a lot more of a solid movie. And like a little bit more character development focused. I think the absence of some of the characters, I think, was a bit of a missed opportunity, because even if you had, say, like Oz, Vicky, and Heather, even towards the end of the movie, like to attend the wedding, like they couldn't attend it until like the actual day itself. I think that would have been like a nice touch to like round up the end of the movie. We don't get that, however, which was a little bit of a shame. And they don't really address why they're not in the movie at all, which is a bit of a weird decision, especially as they spent like the high school and college years like with these same people. Of course, I know it comes down to the director and hiring them back and the cast and all that kind of stuff, but it's just never really addressed. Kevin is definitely sidelined as like a massive relegation character, which was a little bit of a shame. Especially as other characters who hadn't had growth before gets it, but then he's relegated. But yeah, overall, I still really enjoy American Pie, the Wedding, or American Wedding, whatever you'd like to call it as the title, and I still enjoy the movie. So we are down to number 2 and number 1. Which one is getting the silver medal? Well, this movie came out, and you're probably going to guess which one is number 2, in 2012, and that is American Reunion, or American Pie, The Reunion. That one is getting the silver medal for me because this one is directed by John Hurwitz and Hayden Schulzberg, the creators of Cobra Kai, if you're familiar with those names. And this one does a lot right. This one feels as if it's the most mature the characters have been in a good way. It was really, really enjoyable, this one. Like, I had a great time. So yeah, with American Reunion, it's nice to see all the characters back. Even Oz and Heather get the comeback. Vicky, Sherman, Nadia. Although, some of them aren't really needed, let's face it. But yeah, overall the characters feel like they've matured a lot more. It's a nice reunion to see where these characters have been since like the 10th anniversary, I think it is. I could be wrong. But it's just nice to have a bit of a reunion. Eugene Levy also gets a lot more screen time, and he has some fantastic scenes, especially at like Stifler's house. That was great. I still remember seeing this movie in the cinema, and it's just a one I really, really enjoyed. It also gives you a bit of a look at what like marriage life can be like, especially like how you can get caught up with having a child or children. And I think in terms of that aspect, like I really enjoyed it. Again, it's just more about the maturity and the growth of our characters after all this time. And it's just nice to see them finally getting some good development, especially as we start to get more and more development as each movie goes on. So yeah, I really like American Reunion. The only negatives I have, Tara Reid as Vicky does feel relegated, which she does. She's barely in it, and to be fair, she's not really needed. Yeah, also in American Pie the Wedding, Stifler meets a girl who is Michelle's sister, and they don't explain what happened to her here because it seemed as if he changed his ways and he liked a girl. Then all of a sudden, he just doesn't, or like there's no real explanation. Bit of a weird choice overall, I would say. But yes, American Reunion is number 2. Solid movie. Really, really enjoyed it. And of course, the crown of the gold medal goes to American Pie from 1999. I mean, what can I say about this one? This is directed by Paul Weitz. And of course, we've got all of our cast I mentioned before, like Jim, Michelle, Kevin, Finch, Stifler, Oz, Vicky, Heather, Jim's dad, Stifler's mom, who I've not talked about. And it's also really cool to see Finch's mom in number 2. American Reunion. That was also unique. But yeah, I think this movie just culminates a lot of my teenage years, or going into early teenage years. I remember seeing this movie plenty of times, still have some great laughs with it. It's just such a good movie. Big Runga's song of Sway is fantastic. What a song that is, especially for like Heather and Oz. That's like Heather and Oz's song whenever I hear it. Just such a great song. The soundtrack is fantastic. Got like some really cool cameos like Blink 182 or cameos here. They also provide to the soundtrack as well. It's just a fun high school movie. Definitely kind of defined the genre, and definitely was a big change for the genre as well at the time, and still kind of is. There's a lot about this to like, a lot about relationships as well, and a lot about the kind of pressures of growing up and hitting puberty as well, which I really, really enjoyed. So many stories in here that relates to different characters that can be relatable to anyone. In terms of negatives, I would have liked a little bit more character development. Of course, some of the characters I only touched on very briefly. And also, I did watch the deleted scenes of this one, and I feel like the deleted scenes that was on, like the few deleted scenes that there is, I feel like a couple of them actually added to a little bit more development of the movie, and I think they could have actually benefited from actually being in there and extending this out even to say 5-10 minutes, and I think this would have been better for it. But yeah, overall, that is my ranking for American Pie, the all 9 movies. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Did you enjoy this ranking? Let me know in the comment section down below, as I really appreciate any and all anyone who chooses to watch this. Definitely give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking the red button down below. A big thank you to all my awesome patrons who help to really support the channel. If you want to join Patreon, click the link down below in the description box for only £2 per month. And if you haven't already, click over here or over here to watch more content of mine. Probably over here for you guys, actually. To watch more content and catch up on stuff you may have missed. But until next time, I'll see you guys. I'll be seeing you later.